So these are my content examples for Semester 1 of Advanced 3D Engines and Scripting. Character movement is all handled within the player controller. The player pawn only deals with the mesh and a few other bits that are pawn specific. Anything to do with movement, camera movement, anything else like that is all in the controller. Every podium has a link to, not a link, a path to where the specific blueprint can be found, with little instructions on how to use everything. So first is the projectile weapons. Look at it and press F to pick it up. Pressing the F key activates a raycast out of the camera to see if it can interact with anything. That's done through interfaces. With the projectile weapon, multiple types can be spawned. They all have different functionality. At the moment, this is an automatic weapon. So holding down the left mouse button fires it, letting go stops it. And as you can see in the top left, it does have ammo. And when you run out of ammo, you can't shoot anymore. Next up is the hit scan weapon. Same thing, look at it, press F, pick it up. And this is done by casting a ray forward again till it hits anything. It will eventually run out of range, as you can see here. And that will deal damage on whatever it hits. The projectile weapon will also deal damage depending on what projectile gets shot. So next up is the unique pawns. So I decided to go for, instead of just different types of first-person characters, using vehicles instead. So if you look at the vehicle and press F, you get inside it. The previous pawn destroys itself, and any equipped weapons that you have aren't visible anymore. The vehicle movement all works fine. It's a little bit iffy at the moment, just because of the way that the room's set up. So getting out of the vehicle, depending on where it's parked, it is currently a little bit buggy. Press F and you'll just get back out. Some of it is a little bit dodgy at the moment. So, for example, you can actually see the new player pawn that's been spawned after you get out of the vehicle. The two vehicles that I've got at the moment are sort of set up to be more of a dune buggy type thing and more of a bigger, slower truck. So that'll just be changes in the vehicle movement component, and they work exactly the same. Object-to-object communication. Here I've got a little vending machine that when you look at it and press F with the interaction interface again, it'll just spawn a cube. And that's all. That's literally it. Eventually, next semester, I might use this as a base for a sort of store system where players can buy weapons and all of that kind of stuff. Next up is object to multi-objects. This is a different type of weapon I decided to go for. So this is a sticky grenade launcher. You left click to fire the grenades as with a normal weapon, and then if you use the right click, it'll detonate all of them at once. And that's done by retaining an array inside the weapon of active projectiles, and then on detonate, runs through a detonate script with all of them. Next up is enabling input to an actor. So to preface, as you can see, I'm moving around with the player controller, all of the movements being handled inside there. With the safe, if I look at it and press F, I'm moving my mouse, I'm moving my keyboard, and I can't move around. But as you can see, if I press A and D, you can see the dial on the safe is moving. Eventually, this will probably be used for sort of a puzzle system. I press F again, I drop back out, and I'm in full control of the player again. Interfaces, again, a totally different example, but this is for standard pickups. So green will provide you with a specific type of ammo. At the moment, it is just set to, I get close enough, set to just give me some more rifle ammo. That can be changed in the editor. Those variables are exposed. The red will provide you with health. At the moment, there isn't actually a UI indicator for what your health is, but eventually there will be. The inventory system is by the time you reach this point, hopefully if you haven't had to restart it, you should have all of these 3 weapons already. I do not, so I'll pick up the 2 again. You can actually cycle between these now with Z and X. At the moment, they don't actually cycle backwards and forwards, they just cycle guaranteed forwards. You can also use the scroll wheel to cycle between them, and they all work exactly perfectly, as if that only had 1 shot in it left. They all work perfectly fine, and that changes on interfaces as well. A lot of interfaces are used during this. With the managers, I've actually got a couple of examples. The ammo manager, as you've been seeing pretty much the entire time, ammo's eventually going to be shared between players, so they're going to have to handle how they're going to deal with using the same ammo counter, and that will be a challenge that they have to overcome. So if I had 2 players in here and they were both firing a rifle, the rifle would go down for both of them. The UI is linked up to that manager. Picking up loot, that'll be stored in the loot manager. Eventually, the way that it will work is you, as a player, can't claim that loot until you return to a safe zone instead of being out in a game. And that's the idea, that you need to get back safely after going out to collect loot, sort of like the dark zone in the Division. Also, I don't really have an example for it here, but if you die, there's a score manager as well that'll decrease the score by 1, or if you kill an enemy, that'll increase the score by 1. So thank you very much. Hope you enjoy looking through the rest of it in full detail.